Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back to the channel. This is Amrita aka the Coffee Chapter, and today we are going to do a very viral trend which is going on the Bookstagram and on the BookTube. That is 26 books for the year 2026, and these books are those ones which are on my radar. All right, but instead of going the 26 books, I have set up a certain rule for myself. Okay, so the rules are that I'm going to divide these 26 books into two categories. First one is the one which is 13 books in one category and 13 books in another category. So the 13 books in the first category will be the series categories, which means 13 series I will be reading this year. I don't know whether I will be able to complete it or not in the coming up year, but yeah, I'm targeting 13 series that I really want to read and 13 standalone books. One more thing, that the series specially should be those books that I have not read any of the even the single book in the past few years. Like for suppose, like I have read the any duology or trilogy. Like I have read the I Want to Die, but I Want to Eat the Tteokbokki, which is like book I have read. So the second book that I'm having, I should not read the second book in the coming up year. It should be the entirely new series. All right. So this is the rule that I'm going to follow, and I do have certain books with me in terms of the standalone books and the series book. I have only one series book and four standalone books with me. So we'll start with the series books first. So the first series that I really want to read is the Powerless series, and it is, as we all know, it is written by Lauren Roberts. It contains 3 books and 2 novella. So the 3 books are the Powerless, the Reckless, and the Fearless, and the 2 novellas are the Powerful and the Fearful. So the story is between elites and the ordinary, where the ordinary girl is there who has a psychic power, okay, and who saves the prince, and then that girl has been put into a deadly trials, and how she finds the way out from those deadly trials, and how the love uh, forms in between the ordinary girl and the prince, and how the things unfold. So I'm really looking forward to read this series. So the first series contains 3 books. All right. Next is the ACOTAR series, and this ACOTAR series, if you have read the ACOTAR series, you all know that it is written by the Sarah J. Maas, and it totally contains the 5 books. Okay, sorry. The first series is, the genre is romantasy, and for the second series also, the ACOTAR series is the romantasy. So and it contains total 5 books. So the story basically revolves around a 90-year-old huntress who kills a wolf and is actually being captivated by a fairy, Faria, navigating the strange land of magic and danger and romance. The story actually revolves around the love, the sacrifice, the struggle against the dark forces. So sounds very interesting. Like I have heard really good reviews about about this entire series. I'm really looking forward to read that one. The next series is actually the Bear Town series, written by Frederick Backman, which is a thriller, and it contains again 3 books. So the story is basically set up in the northern Sweden, in a small town called as Bear Town, where hockey is the main sports and it's a part of their life. And what happens is, there's a violent action or something like that happens, incident between the 2 teenagers, that changes the entire course of the entire town, the culture and the community of the entire Bear Town. So it contains again the 3 books, and it's a thriller one. I haven't read thriller in a long time, so it will be a good, I would say, a start for me to read the Bear Town series. Except the Powerless series, I don't have the ACOTAR series or the Bear Town series. I really have to go and buy them out. Next one is on the number 4th, I have the Poppy War, written by R.F. Kuang. I do have one book of R.F. Kuang that I've included in the standalone book section, the 13 standalone book sections that I have. And the Poppy War is basically a historical fiction, and it contains 3 books. So the story basically revolves around an orphan who is accepted in the elite military academy, And during the time of her academy, she discovers that she has some magical powers or psychic powers in her. And at the same time, the war is also going on. So how does she finds herself in between that conflict which is taking place between the her motherland and the magic and the military on the, with the Mughal Federation, which has been there. So she gets caught up in between that, and how she navigates her path is all about the story of the Poppy War. I have heard some reviews about it, and the people say it's a good one. Although I feel that reading is subjective matter, so once I'll read, I'll get to know. On number fifth, it is the Red Rising series, and it is written by Pierce Brown. So it contains 5 books, as you all can see, and it's the genre is basically the dystopian series. Okay, so the story begins with Darrow, a red miner, who discovers that his peoples are enslaved and that Mars has been transformed for generations. Okay, now after a personal tragedy, he joins the Sons of Ares, a revolutionary group, and undergo a transformation to infiltrate the gold. So basically, the Reds are the lower part of the society, and the Golds are the upper part of the society, and the Reds are basically considered as slaves. And how that Red infiltrates into the Golds so that the things can be changed and the slavery thing can be ended, I think so. So the story basically has the rebellion, the sacrifice, the complexities of power which has been there, and how the Darrow navigates the trenches political situation of elite in that entire thing. So this is the series number 5. Now the series number 6 is the very one, is the Cruel Prince, written by Holly Black. Again, it's a romantasy. It contains 3 books. So the story basically follows with Jude Durate, a mortal girl who, after the tragic murder of her parents, is abducted to the High Court of Faria. There she navigates the treacherous political landscape and seeks to win a place among the immortals. Okay, particularly in a complex relationship with Prince Carmen. So there's a girl who her parents dies and has been murdered, and she has been kidnapped by the High Court of Feria, and there she meets Prince Carden, the youngest son of the High King, and how she becomes intrigued by the palace deceptions and everything. And Jade must also confront her mortality and consequences of her actions too. So it's kind of a complicated story, I feel so. But like I have heard that Cruel Prince, like it contains, because it contains the 3 books: the Cruel Prince, the Queen, and one, I think one is the King. I don't remember the name exactly, but I have heard that the first book is quite slow, but the second and the third books pick up the pace later on. So let's see. I'm actually excited to get for this. So which means I have to buy like a lot of books this year, and most probably we'll have more book hauls coming for the next year. Next book which is coming, next series which is coming in, is the 7th series, is the Fourth Wing, written by Rebecca Yarros. Again, the 3 books contains fantasy. The story follows Violet Sorgel, the daughter of a commanding general who was unexpectedly forced into dangerous rider quadrant at Bessiger War College, a place where failure means death in this world, bonding with dragon in both honor and a lethal risk. So this contains dragon, this contains war, this contains might be political situation also, and some deceptions, and more of the things like where you have to kill people, might be to survive, and controlling the dragons, which can be an honor and a risk both. So it seems quite interesting. So yeah, so this is the series number 7, contains 3 books. I'll let you know how many books we are reading in the total, and you'll be surprised. Next is the Twisted series, written by Anna Huang, and it contains 4 books. It's a romance series. So Twisted series follows the lives of 4 best friends basically, and their brooding love interest, riddled with dark secrets from their past. As they navigate their personal obstacles, they overcome the challenges keeping them apart to fall in love. So 4 friends, their love stories, their past haunting them, and how they can stop themselves from falling in the love. Quite a interesting series, I would say that it is going to be. So next series number 9 is Throne of Glass, again written by Sarah J Maas, and it contains 7 books, and it is a fantasy series. I'm actually quite intrigued, or you can say a little bit scared about reading these 7 books. This is going to be so much. I don't know whether you're able to complete these books or not. So the story basically centers around Selenka and Selena Sardothian, a skilled assassin who's offered a chance at freedom by competing to become the king champion. Okay, throughout the series, she faces numerous challenges, uncovers dark secrets, and forms complex relationships with key characters, including Prince Dorian. So this seems to be quite a complex story which is going on. So I'm just really looking forward. I really don't know like what to say, because these are these books which I have heard for the entire, like, since the 4 or 5 months, since I'm more active on the Bookstagram and got in this thing. I have like heard so many things about it, and I really don't know how the things will going to go ahead. So number 10th, we have the Vancouver series written by Stephanie Archer, and it is a romance genre, and it contains 5 books. So it's basically it combines the profession of hockey with the romance life on the ice. And the story is basically between the players, the relationships, exploring theme of love, the rivalry, and personal growth overall. Okay, mainly people like what I've seen, that this basically it's a standalone books, but they can be read together, because I think the characters are mixed here and there. We'll get to know when we will read this entire story. That the series is known for its authentic team culture, emotional depth, etc. Like, actually, I've prepared the entire notes on my laptop so that I don't forget anything. On 11th number, we have The Shepherd King, written by Rachel Glink. It contains 2 books, and it's a gothic fantasy fiction. And it is basically Elizabeth, a young woman cursed with a deadly monster spirit known as the Nightmare. In the kingdom of Blunder, plague used by dark magic that infects both people and land. Elspeth embarks on a perilous quest to unravel the magic mysteries, uses Urses and the consequences of wielding powerful magic, all set against a backdrop of shadow and deception. So this is going to be, I think this story basically has a woman who is being cursed by a spirit known as a nightmare, and she lives in the kingdom called as Blunder, and it's been affected with the plague, and not even the people, not just the people, but also the land is also gets affected. So she has to go and unravel the magic, unravel the magic mysteries, and so that she can save the land and the people both at the same time. Okay, and it also contains some deception and something like that. The 12th series is the Windy City series, written by Liz Tomforde, 5 books, and it contains 5 books, and it is a romance based. So basically, it's again a sports romance that depicts realistic and healthy relationships. The series follows a romantic relationship of different characters in the Windy City series. It is Chicago. Okay, the books offer a mix of witty banter and real life struggles. So I think this book is going to be really a lighter one. I think Vancouver and the Windy City series, they are really the lighter series. As per the series that I have picked up, they are going to be really heavy. I don't know whether I will. I don't think so. I will cry in any of the series. Let's see. Actually, I don't cry so easily. Yesterday I was reading a book and I shed few tears. Like, just my eye just welled up. Just once in the entire 361 pages. We will discuss the book that I have read in the next video. The series number 13 is basically The Good Girl's Guide to Murder. It's a thriller book written by Holly Jackson. It contains 3 books. It's basically follows the journey of Pip Fitz Amboy, a high school senior who becomes determined to solve the murder of a local schoolgirl. After growing convinced that the police had misidentified the accused, Pip embarks on an investigation of her own. So there's a high school girl who wants to investigate a murder of a high school girl who has been murdered, and because she's convinced that somewhere the police has picked up the wrong person, and this is not how the things are being there. So yeah, and the story is based in England. So this is all the series that I'm looking forward. So there are total 13 series that we have gone through, and if I just talk about the number of books the total number of series books that we are going to read is 54. So total 54 books are there in the series that we are going to read, and that's too much. I don't know how many books I can read. Okay, so next part comes up is the 13 books of the standalone series of the standalone. So these are the standalones. These are not some books which are the part of the series, but they are the standalone books. So the first book is The Pachinko, written by Min Jin Lee, and it's a historical fiction. So what I have heard about this book, that this book is basically based on a war fiction, where and it is based on it is basically the suffering of the 4 generations, that how because of the break of the Korean war between Korea and Japan, a family is forced to move from their motherland, from Korea to Japan, and how that woman who has been left behind takes care of her children, and how the children also faces the discrimination in the society over there. So it's basically the struggle of that entire family and the 4 generations which have been left behind, especially the women's only, because the men have died in the Korean War. So that is The Pachinko. I have heard that this is quite an emotional story, so I'm really looking forward. I will soon go for the book shopping, might be in the month of January. We'll go and buy some books, because we really don't have most of the series available. Only we have one series, plus 12 series are not available. Next one is The Little Life by Hanya Yanagira. And as far as I know, because I have this book with me, so A Little Life is basically a story of the 4 friends who lives in a small city and moves to the big city, I think Massachusetts, if I'm not wrong, and how their stories unfold and what they go through in the entire process of making up their career is the story. What the premises that I have learned, that the story, whatever I've learned, that the premise doesn't seem to be that emotional, but I have heard people reviews that the story is emotional and you're definitely going to cry. I've also heard that people are saying that if somebody is reading a book called A Little Life, please, I want to go and give a hug to them. This is what I have heard on Bookstagram everywhere. Next comes up is A Silent Patient by Alex Michelindens, I suppose, if I'm not wrong, taking the wrong name. And it is a psychological thriller, basically. So this book talks about 2 people, a husband and a wife, both successful in their profession, lovable, and they both love each other. But one day the wife kills the husband and then becomes mute and does not speak. The police accuse them, the law accuse her, but she does not speak, utters a single word in her defense. So that's quite intriguing. And she speaks after 15 years, I suppose, if I'm not wrong, and how the things unfold after that, like why she killed her husband, is the main question. So let's see. I'm really looking forward to this book also. Next book is The Crime and Punishment. We have already talked about Crime and Punishment in my previous video by Fyodor Dostoevsky. It's a psychological fiction. So basically, a man thinks that some people are above law. So what he does, he goes and kills someone just to prove that some people are beyond the law and they cannot be punished. So it's psychological fiction which goes on. And yeah, so this is what it is about. Next comes is the Babel. Babel is written by R.F. Kuang. I have Babel with me currently, and the books actually talks about the so it talks about the at its heart is Babel, Oxford University prestigious Royal Institute of Translation, the tower from which all the power of the empire flows. Orphaned in Canton and brought to England by mysterious guardian, Robin Swift thought Babel a paradise until it became a prison. But can a student stand against the empire? So it's basically a student who was brought in this institute called as Babel, which is considered to be an Oxford, which is a magical institute, and the students gets very excited, but later on and thinks that, oh, it's a paradise, but it actually becomes a prison of that for that student. And can the student actually fight against those things, or that empire of Babel? The next book is basically so Babel is a fiction, and the next book is The Never Lie by Frida McFadden, and it's a psychological thriller. So it's basically the psychological that follows the 2 people who have just got married, and they go to a remote location in a manor, and during a snowstorm they get trapped in this manor, and this house where they are staying, the in a far location is actually was being owned by a psychologist called Dr. Adrian Hall, and who has a dark past. So the lady actually discovers the few tapes of the doctor, and which is hidden in the manure, and it also which contains the manipulate which contains a lie web of lies, the manipulation. And she also discovers that her tapes are also being there, so which means that she had some past which has been hidden from her, and she does not remember that, and how she uncovers all these things. So I have like heard that this is a nail biting thriller, and really you'll get a creepy feeling from inside. I don't know whether I will get a creepy feeling or not, but yeah. Next book that comes up is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. It's a classic French literature. So they basically, it's a sailor wrongfully imprisoned by for the political reasons, and after like enduring all the punishment for 14 years where this guy was living, uh, he escapes and discovers a large amount of wealth hidden in the Monte Cristo island, and he uses that entire wealth to build himself up and to take the revenge from his family and his closest friends who caused him that misery and left him behind through his journey. And the story is about justice, about vengeance. So this is the story about them. Now the next book that comes up is the Thousand Splendid Sun by Khalid Hosseini, and it's a historical fiction. So the book is about two sisters, Mariam and Leila, focusing on Mariam, who is actually an illegitimate child of some theater owner, and her mother tries to keep the girl away from that owner, but she gets so you can say enchanted or attracted toward that guy of the owner that so many tragic events takes place, and the mother takes her own life. Later Mariam gets married to an older guy, and her sister Lala is being married to a wealthy family who is like a modern family, and how a progressive family we can say in Kabul, and how their lives unfold, the challenges, how she navigates her upbringing, harsh realities of the Afghan society, which has been there, and it basically talks about the condition of the women in the Afghanistan. All right. So next book is actually a romance book. It's a You Have Reached Sam by Dustin Thau. And what I have learned about this book is that the book is actually about two teenagers who are in love with each other, but the guy dies suddenly without and they actually plan their entire future, but before that the guy dies, and the girl gets into the trauma and she doesn't know like what to do, and because she was planning her entire life with him, and suddenly he's nowhere, so she just comes back home, throws everything away so that she can comes out. But when she calls on his number, because she was so deeply in love with him that she calls on that number just to listen his voice, just to get that closure, that why did he left him her in between, uh, and she gets connected with the guy, and how this things goes on further, the complexities, the emotional journey of the girl during the entire course is those stories about. I have heard that this is a very tragic and emotional story, so I'm ready to shed some few tears on that, and by that way I'll also cry for something. The next book is my first book of this author, and this is basically actually I really wanted to read this particular author a lot, and this is Emily Henry, and the book is Book Lovers. It's a romance genre. So basically it's the story revolves around Nora Stephens, a successful literary agent, and Charlie Laster, a book editor. The story begins when Nora, seeking a peaceful retreat, travels to a small town in North Carolina where she reconnects with Charlie, her former rival. As they navigates their past conflicts and unexpected emotions, they discover them's themes of love, self-discovery, and balance between career and personal life. So this is going to be a really fun story with the romance. I think there's going to be a lot of banter, and it's enemies to lovers story. So I'm really looking forward. Actually, I really like enemies to lovers or friends to lovers. More than that, I like enemies to lovers more. because the kind of banter and goes on, it's really unbelievable. Next book is actually Intermezzo by Sally Rooney, which is a fiction book, and that delves in the lives of the two brothers and how they navigate their path after the death of their father. Okay, the struggle, the relationship, and understanding each of them, coming up the grief, the complexity, everything. So the book is seems to be really heavy, and I think I have picked a lot of heavy emotional books. Let's see how it goes. So this is about the intermezzo, and the next book is the book number 12 is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, and this is a science fiction, and it's basically about a guy, Ryland Grace. He's a former biologist and one who and a school teacher, and one day he wakes up and finds himself on a spacecraft with no memory, like what happened in the past or the mission, like what's going on. And he's the humanity's last hope against a solar dimming event can caused by alien microorganism called astrophage. Grace must decipher an impossible scientific puzzle to save humanity from extinction. I think there's a movie which is also coming on this book, which is Project Hail Mary. So I really watch actually this science fiction movies. Like I have watched The Martian and the Gravity, and one more I don't remember. So I'm really looking forward to watch this movie. But before that, I really wanted to read this book first. The last book of the 26 books for the 2026 is the My Friends from Frederick Backman. So the novel intertwines the lives of four teenagers, becomes a symbol of a painting, sorry, that becomes a symbol of their friendship. The story is set in a coastal town and unfolds over two timelines. One is the current timeline, and one is the present timeline. One is the past timeline, one is the present timeline. And often is aspiring artist Lucia, and it explores the themes of friendship, art, and impact on their bond during that course of time, on each of their lives. So these are the total 26 books that I really wanted to read. And one more thing, thank you for showing so much love on my last video of the book haul. I'm really thankful, and it was really a good thing. Like I was really happy for that, and I hope you will keep showing that love and support to me for this video too. I have like changed a little bit. I don't know whether you will like it or not, but like I have put my efforts into it. And मुझे किसी ने कहा था प्लीज थोड़ा हिंदी में भी बोल लिया करो यार. तो थैंक यू सो मच. और मैं आपसे मिलूंगी अगले वीडियो में इसके बाद में. एंड yeah, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.